The Todd Shapiro Show.
Time to hit the button!
On Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.
Oh, yeah.
The time has come for CEO Profiles.
Oh, yeah, man. One of my favorite times. Every week we catch up with a dude who inspires us and makes us all better and makes you, like I said earlier in the program, look in the mirror and know that you can make something of yourself tomorrow because of the advice of this man that we're about to present to you from Lifted Innovations, lifted.com, the CEO, my friend, Brandon Ward. Hello, sir.
Mr. Shapiro, how you doing, buddy?
Don't you ever friggin' call me Mr. again. You ever, if you do that, dude, I swear to God, I will smack that Mr. right out of you.
I'm from the South, buddy. It's a sign of reverence and respect.
Oh, God. I don't even know what that word means. Don't you
It means
dare.
I revere you, buddy. I look at you. You're up there in the sky. I put you on a pedestal.
That's what I put you on, man. You're helping people out. You're helping people out, man. That's what you do. And every week you come on the show and we kind of share stuff and just try to inspire people and everything. And I just really think that's very cool. How are things going with you and lifted.com?
We're doing well, Todd. I appreciate that. It's always fun being on the show. We had a good month in April, just being a big month for the industry. So, we're mapping out. We're rolling along with the plans that we have in place, and it's good, man. Our team's really starting to fire on all cylinders, which is always nice, and I think for us being a young company, we're just super aggressive with the plans that we have, but the more organized and transparent you get, man, and you start chipping away and making these little bits of progress and victories, it just feels good in spite of what can be some hefty challenges.
Well, I mean, and there are hefty challenges and hurdles in everybody's business and in everybody's lives, and nothing goes up in a straight line, nothing at all. In fact, one thing we know, especially with age, and that is concrete, is that there's every single day there's going to be an up and a down. Every single day of someone's life, and as most picturesque as the day may seem, you go back and you find out, the dog puked on the carpet. Like, it just couldn't be a perfect day. And sometimes there's those perfect days, but those always scare the crap out of me because it means tomorrow's going to be just complete S. But when you talk about that, you have to, as a CEO, have this sort of very strong confidence about you. And I was reading an article the other day, and I wanted to ask you about it. It sort of was titled like why every entrepreneur needs to know about the alter ego effect. Essentially meaning creating like this alter ego for yourself about the specific role and time and area in your life, and find out what that alter ego means to you and what it represents to others, because you got to put on this brave face every day. Do you find that?
Yeah, I mean, that's challenging because for sometimes, dude, I mean, Todd, I know each other pretty personal, and I'm a pretty open book and can be emotional and expressive. So having a stone-faced poker face is difficult sometimes because I prefer transparency. But, with that being said, when you're leading a team, man, you do have to hold that stuff tight and keep close certain information, or be selective about what you share because it could affect the morality of your team around you. And when you drop morale in a team, it doesn't help anyone, And even though being transparent and open sometimes seems nice, when you look back, it's like, man, I probably should have just kept that to myself. So that's something as a young leader that I'm learning every day is what do I need to hold close and just put the face on and push forward and keep the other stuff away. It's tough, man. It really is. It can be, for sure.
Yeah, is that frustrating sometimes, actually, because you are so transparent? But I guess in business, to shareholders, it's one thing, but to sort of be brave amongst your staff, it's sometimes good just to hold that stuff in and follow this strong leader here, and we'll get through it. I guess it's got to be a bit of a struggle, like to not share everything, knowing that that's who you are because you love to be a very honest human being.
Yeah. Well, something that I've found is the team that we have, they particularly enjoy that about me. And over time, because the majority culture isn't like that, so it's a bit of a learning curve for people that don't know me very well. But they seem to grow and adjust to it. And I think that if you can work with your team or people that you're working with about that, and just consistency, man, that's the important thing. So maybe it's different than what they're used to, but if you're consistent with your behavior and how you respond to things, whether the stress level is high or low, I think that's the most important thing. And so you can get away, at least what I'm learning, with being more transparent, because from my perspective, I just want to keep it consistent. The messaging's same. We're pivoting a bit, but always trying to be strong and steady, even if I'm upset,
Is that tough not to like lose it on people?
Oh, dude, it's very hard sometimes.
I don't mean to be a dick, but because I've based much of my career on the radio, where like shock value is good. But like if I were to ever become a CEO of a company, which by the way, some things may be in the works, but yeah, no, I'm serious, man. I'm cooking up a deal here, bro. Yeah, man, nice. I'm cooking up a deal. Like, I think, but I like to snap on Bilal and stuff. I can't do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can, but there's consequences, and I think that was the way of I consider that kind of the old school way. But, there's moments, Todd. The thing that I like is if you can keep your emotions, even if you're aggravated, if you take a moment, walk away. If you choose to express your anger in moments, it can be very powerful. But if you're known as a guy that's always losing his cool, people lose respect for you. They don't take you seriously, and they know you're just going to get mad, and then nothing's going to come of it. But if you're fired up very selectively, then people respond, I've found, very powerfully.
Good to know. Brandon Ward's joining us from Lifted.com, Lifted Innovations CEO. How is it then that you juggle, Brandon? Give us some advice here. That you can't obviously be afraid of failure. You got to be that strong leader we're talking about. But how do you separate that from arrogance?
Man, is
that a good question or what?
Tough. Yeah, that's a really good question.
I know.
I mean, when you because I'm a psychology guy, you love the good questions.
Yeah,
you know this.
Yeah.
But this is why we always have fun. But when you look at psychology, Todd, you look at an arrogant sociopathic person,
yep,
and also kind of trailblazing, strong personality types. They share very similar qualities. They believe in what they're doing. They believe in their vision. They believe in their strategy. I think the difference is having the ability to be humble and accept when you're wrong, and also recognizing that you don't have all the answers, though you very well believe strongly in what you're doing. Doesn't mean we're always going to be right, and you just got to be humble to the fact that you're going to miss, man. The best hitters in the world miss 7 out of 10 times, right? So you just got to accept that.
Yeah, that's a good answer, man. That's that happens. But like, can a team perceive you as being arrogant though at time? Not you, but just like, how do you work with a team where you're not perceived as being too arrogant?
Well, dude, you got to listen to people. I think that's one thing. My thing is I always want to hear out what my team says, but it doesn't mean I'm going to do what they say, but just considering that. And I think considering what they're saying and why they're saying things from their perspective is first and foremost a very powerful exercise. Doesn't mean you always listen, but if you do that, those are small little things where maybe you implement elements of what they suggest into your plan so that you show them that what you think matters, what they're saying matters, especially if you think you want to just do this for the sake of it. But if you genuinely believe in it, I think that's one way to do it, is just be open to other suggestions and taking pieces of other things and incorporating into what you believe in strongly, even though it may be perceived as arrogant a little bit.
Hey, at what point do, say, employees of yours or just in general in business, Brandon Ward, give great suggestions? You are a great team, leader by listening and taking suggestions and implementing a lot of those. But is there ever like a balance there too, where you almost can't take too many suggestions because then the employee goes, oh, wait a second, I'm giving all these great ideas here. I need a raise.
Yeah. No, that's you do have to remind them that just because you're listening doesn't mean that every idea they have is great. And we found, you want to kind of control but I think keeping meetings to smaller groups of people, kind of like 3 to 4 people where you're discussing ideas, and then having a final decision maker is what it's about. Because, dude, in business, having democracy is really a recipe for disaster because it's always going to be waffling. So you do have to have someone that basically owns the decision-making process. So for me, that's what I do. And I give the leads on my team the same thing. We consider what's going on, but ultimately it's their call. And if they make that call, then whether we agree or not, we have to rally around and support because you don't always agree on what's been done, but you still got to support.
Yeah, but do younger generation, and we've had these chats early on when we first started, Brandon, but do they understand that in business it can't always be a democracy?
Well, you got to teach them. That's like one thing that that's just, you have to really coach. And I think that's where, one thing about being a CEO, man, is it's not just about having a sound business strategy. It's so much of what you're doing is relationship based, at least the way I run the company that I'm running. And so sometimes you got to take them aside and say, hey, look, I really appreciate your creativity, your enthusiasm, but I don't think that's right for us. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And this is why I believe it'll be stronger. I could be wrong, but I think the important piece is always recognizing, explaining why you're doing this so they understand your thinking, so that in the future, when they're thinking about problems, they're using that same type of mindset for the problem-solving aspect. So you're not totally discouraging their creativity, but you're also letting them know that just because they make a suggestion doesn't mean it's going to be implemented.
So what's next for you guys over at Lifted? What's going on?
We're cruising. We've got timelines for the websites. We're consolidating websites. We're revamping some design elements on there. We're kicking up the conversion data analysis on our sites too. We're turning over our product catalog. Dude, we're doing a bunch of stuff, which is nice. It's fun. That's the key thing for us is just how do we get better at organizing and prioritizing our projects and keeping the transparency and accountability alive for everyone. So we've been implementing a little bit of a project management software, which is hopefully going to help us. So dude, we're just going to keep rolling, man. Because, the whole thing for us, Todd, is we've got the summertime to really get primed for fall, which is really, I guess, shopping time of the year. So for us, we've got to get aggressive, and we're excited about getting things done over the summer, even though it's harder when it's really nice out.
Yeah, but you work through that summer. Yeah, I guess, that's part of forecasting and trends, right? You look for shopping habits and everything.
Yep. And in this industry specifically, online, you can look the biggest shopping times of the year, obviously around the holidays, November. It starts, but once kids start going back to school for college, universities, it starts picking up in September. So in our mind, May, June, July, and August to really hammer out these changes that we're wanting to do, kind of start testing in August and then be primed for fall because it's just, a rising tide raises all boats, my friend. So we want to be there positioned, ready to capture as many fish as we can.
And Brandon Ward, Lifted.com, the CEO, Lifted Innovations, has anything inspired you lately? Have you something aside or away from your business that uplifted you that day?
Yeah, I found, I'm always, I know you mentioned this multiple times, but I'm always a fan of Gary Vee. I listen to him often. But one of the things that I think has been inspiring for me is there's a guy, the name of Marcus Buckingham. He's like a thought leader in the space of organization and management. And I found some of his YouTube videos on his channel, which is very underrated, by the way. And, man, it's just like a totally different mindset in terms of leadership and managing people. And I've been finding so much gold in that, and I've been applying it with the team. And it's insane what's happened over just a couple of weeks about communication and how things are changing. I literally reformatted our weekly meetings from groups on this guy's recommendation. So
wow.
It's showing. Yeah. It's cool, man. Just quick, Todd, because I know you're rolling your show, buddy.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes here. We got 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. The whole focal point for him is that you want, as a leader, your whole job is to understand what your team's priorities are and then how you can help them. And so so instead of doing these group settings, we do group follow-ups to kind of check in with everyone, but the meetings are now one-on-one to say, hey, what's your priorities for the week and what can I do to help you? And if they're off base, you pivot them a little bit. And then, dude, as a leader, our job is literally to help get stuff out of their way. Where are they stuck? Who they need help from? Do I need to apply pressure from a CEO level on someone else in an external company? Like that type of stuff, so they don't feel stuck and they know that you're helping them though. And it's already having a marked difference.
Unbelievable, eh? What I'm hearing is sort of communication and listening.
I know, dude. It's simple, but it's you'd be surprised how many people don't do that.
No, for sure. I mean, I think
it
if you were to ask anyone listening, and when was the last time you felt comfortable to communicate with your superiors and felt like you were being listened to? It didn't mean that it necessarily meant that your way was the highway or anything, but that is really important. That helps keep people motivated. It is very simple, but I don't know why. And, we've always talked about the old way of doing business, but dude, radio's a lot like that. I mean, I got a pretty good boss, but there's not like, in many of my days, there's not been a lot of great communication in many of my businesses. And it's something that I would always want to profess to as well, to make sure that if I was a leader, Bilal, do I communicate with you enough?
I could use a little bit more.
Okay. Thanks, Brandon. You're helping me already.
Hey, Bilal, just tell Todd to ask him what you need, brother, and help him out. That's all you got to do, man.
Yeah, I just need him to reply back to some of those texts.
You run here.
All right. See, I don't reply back to his text, so I got something out of it.
There you go.
I take him for granted. I really do. He's great. Hey, brother.
He is great.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandon.
You got it, Todd.
Brandon Ward, lifted.com, Lifted Innovations, at Brandon Ward CEO. We're going to catch up next week or what?
Good, brother. I'm actually in town next week, so maybe we can head up together. It'd be nice to sit down. It's been a while since we've done that.
Dude, come in the studio. If you don't come in the studio, I'm going to be very disappointed because you stiffed me the last time.
Throat punch. I know. I'm on a. You can step on my toes.
Dude, I sharpen my elbows. I sharpen these elbows, man. Don't you worry.
I love it, brother.
Okay, dude.
Well, hey, man, have a good rest of your week, Todd. I'll talk to you next week. All right.
All right, go Padres. Okay.
Nice. All right, cheers, brother.
See you, man. See you. That was a lot of fun. Good dude. Nice to learn. Nice to be inspired.
This is the Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.